haven't been hosting a lot of events in Korea, but maybe there are like developers already using our platform. So basically, DoraHacks was founded in 2014, and I think it's one of the most active developer and hacker communities in the world. And DoraHacks has a platform for developer incentivization, and we're building a lot of interesting like crypto native toolkits for open source developers and hacker communities. So as you can see on DoraHacks platform, there are multiple functions, including hackathon, buildo, grants with multiple voting schemes, grant DAOs. So in the crypto and Web3 field, there are a lot of ecosystems and communities using DoraHacks platform to incentivize their developers and fund their ecosystem projects. So DoraFactory was founded in 2021. It is a newer project, but it's building some important infrastructure and protocols for the community. So before this year, the DoraFactory team was mostly doing research and building protocols for funding, for voting, for community governance. And this year, the DoraFactory team actually has a new plan, and this new plan is building based on what we have previously, and we're building something more interesting. So in general, DoraHacks is a global hacker community, and it's a open source developer platform, and DoraFactory is the infrastructure and protocol layer. Is a validator for some major blockchain ecosystems, and the concept of public good staking is that by being validators of these ecosystems, DoraFactory actually generates, like the validators generates continuous income from the block incentives. And we actually use this continuous blockchain incentives to incentivize and fund developers on DoraHacks. So that is the connection between DoraFactory and DoraHacks. So I think Korea has been a very interesting place for crypto and Web3 from the very beginning, and I think DoraHacks has been like interacting with the Korean developer community since 2017, 2018. Like there were multiple hackathons, either virtually or in person, or related to the Korean community. And also there are some major Korean ecosystems, like blockchain ecosystems, they're using DoraHacks platform already. One example is Clayton. In 2022, the major hackathon organized by Clayton was with DoraHacks and using DoraHacks platform. So I think Korea has South Korea has a very interesting and vibrant developer community, as well as the Web3 community. So we love the community, and just a few weeks ago, DoraHacks has released a Korean version. So now we're supporting Korean language on our platform. So we're definitely looking for more engagement with the Korean community this year. We are, because DoraHacks is a global hacker community, so we are supporting the hacker movement. So frontier technology is very important, and it's also important for the developer, like for us to enable the developer community, especially the open source developer community, to work on any new frontier technology, so that we can make sure that frontier technologies are at least having the participants from open source community. So beyond the Web3 and crypto space, DoraHacks platform is able to support hackathons and communities in other frontier technology communities. Specifically, I think the quantum community is very active in terms of open source, because quantum computers need applications, and right now the hardware is controlled by big companies, but the software layer is pretty much open source. It's a good thing. So open source developers can participate in the quantum ecosystems easily, and many of the quantum machines are accessible through major cloud providers. So the capability of quantum computers is a little bit limited right now, because it's noisy and the number of qubits is small. But the open source community participation is very important. So we see there is a lot of enthusiasm from the open source developer communities building quantum applications. In terms of AI, I think it's already super hot, especially after the ChatGPT success. So there are hackathons organized on DoraHacks about AI. One just completed was called the AI coding hackathon. So it's based on a model that is trained for automatic coding. So it's like AI writing programs. So using this model, developers can build different kind of sub AIs to code different languages. So this is an interesting hackathon that just concluded a few days ago, and there are hackers like building AIs. Like one of the AIs is doing Vim coding. So Vim is the editor. Like building AI for Vim, building AI for VS Code, and etc. Yeah. So and also very soon we will be hosting some of the hackathons in space technology as well. Even though the space technology is kind of close, a lot of the technology is controlled by the government and is hardware related. But nonetheless, there is a big space for hackers and developers to participate because of the launch cost is lowering. So with the SpaceX rocket, now you can launch satellites with much lower cost. I think in April, you will see whether the Starship will be successful or not. If Starship is going to further lower the cost of launching payload from Earth to space, and then you will be able to build a lot more things, either as satellite or space factory, or maybe space mining, or and other kind of like interesting applications software. So with this capability, there is a lot of opportunity for the open source community to participate. Grant DAO was one of the earliest grant DAO that is connected to public staking. So it's directly funded by the DoraFactory Aptos public staking validator. And it's an ongoing effort. So which means as long as we generate block rewards from our validator, we will use those rewards to fund this grant DAO, and this grant DAO is like a distribution mechanism to fund the developer projects. So on one hand, we have the validator, which is doing public good staking. On the other hand, we have the like grant distribution algorithm, which is the protocol to ensure that we can involve the community and also fund proper builders in the space. So if you are a developer, you can participate in Aptos grant DAO anytime. So you can just use DoraHacks.io and submit a builder, which means a project, and your project will be submitted to Aptos grant DAO. So there is a simple review process because we need to make sure that the project is actually building on Aptos and it's actually doing something for the ecosystem. And when the builder is accepted, I mean, the builder can be in multiple, I mean, it can be in different tracks. So it can be a public good, it can be infra, tooling, like social apps, gaming, or anything. So any good ideas are welcomed to the Aptos grant DAO. So every 2 months, there will be a funding round. So currently, we will, like the public good staking part will inject about 8,000 Aptos into the grant DAO about every 2 months. So all of these submissions will be considered to join the round, and a review process will be like filtering active builders. So in general, there are 2 requirements. The first requirement is the project needs to be active, and the second requirement is it has to be related to Aptos. So it means it has to be building something on Aptos. So these are the basic requirements, which is like very easy to determine. And every project that fulfills these requirements will enter the funding round. And then, so from the next round, previously we have like two ways of funding. The first way is there will be direct funding. So everyone who got selected into the round, means they're building something on Aptos, will be funded with a certain number of Aptos token. So this is just for the builders to ensure that all the builders receive some funding so that they can continue building. And secondly, there will be a community funding round. So the community can vote for their favorite builders, as well as donating to these builders through APT token. And this is processed through a quadratic funding round with multiple improvements in algorithm and UI. And you will be able to see it on DoraHacks.io. It's pretty straightforward. But everyone from the Aptos community can vote for their favorite builder or favorite project. And after this process, there will be a leaderboard, because different projects will be receiving different number of votes, and the final grant distribution will be based on the voting results from the community. And from next round, which is the round 3, we'll be adding another mechanism, which is so we will be specifically giving grants to projects that are working on unique features on Aptos. So that means we will be able to determine certain topics that are unique, and we think those topics we think are good for building on Aptos, and for developers who are specifically working on these ideas can get a bunch of funding from the grant DAO directly, so that they can keep working on these ideas. So there are 3 mechanisms for grant DAO funding at this moment. We might add more, but right now I think it's sufficient, and we'll be able to achieve a goal of sustainable funding, right? So on one hand, it's permissionless for anyone who are building on Aptos to join the grant DAO and get funded, and on the other hand, we run this grant DAO very regularly. It's 2 months, and we make sure that everyone can get continuous funding every 2 months. So the benefit of doing this is so psychologically, people can be encouraged to keep building, and financially, if they're building something that makes sense, they will be granted with funding so that they can keep building until they receive something more significant, for example, venture funding, or so. So either this idea fails, and then they can switch to another idea or another ecosystem, because there are multiple ecosystems running hackathons and grant DAOs on DoraHacks. So they can switch, or they can build something else, right? So, but the funding mechanism is continuous, so we can make sure that everyone who wants to build, who is capable of building, they can build, and they will be supported. And developer community, my message is go global. It's very simple, and the way to go global is also very simple. You can so with for example, the DoraHacks platform and maybe other communities, it's going to be very easy to engage with and communities around the world. So just don't be shy and go global. So there are so many interesting things to be built. To work on something something you feel really important, and all these ideas will be incentivized and design space in the crypto world.